Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Lord of the Rings review series. Last time we saw EA take their first stab at adapting the films into video games with The Two Towers. And despite being a relatively basic beat-em-up game, it was a ton of fun and made you feel like you were in the movie. Naturally, EA had to finish the series, hell, the last game even ended with a message telling you it was coming, with an adaptation of Return of the King. With only a year to put this one out, would EA be able to make changes or enhancements, or would they just do a simple copy and paste job and hope the same thing would tie fans over? Well, the first thing you have to know is that EA developed this one in-house and removed Stormfront Studios completely, who had handled the last title. EA built off that template and went bigger and better to make not only one of the best Lord of the Rings games, but one of the best movie-based games I've ever played. Story-wise, we're picking up right at the end of The Two Towers, and the game even expands on some of the smaller moments, such as making you travel to Isengard as Gandalf after the Battle of Helm's Deep. The game then allows you to choose how the story plays out by following three branching paths. The path of the Hobbits, which follows Frodo, Sam, and Gollum, the path of the Wizard, which obviously follows Gandalf, and finally the path of the King, following Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. And the reason why this time it can cover all of those plot lines is because you can play as all of those characters. You're free to tackle any path at any time, but you can't complete the final mission until you complete Gandalf and Aragorn's path. Also, there are more missions for some of them than others, but that's kind of just based on the plot, so I'll give it a pass. The game literally walks you through some of the biggest moments from the ending sections of The Two Towers, to the Battle of Minas Tirith, Sam fighting with Shelob, and the final stand outside the Black Gate. There was never a moment where I went, wait, why didn't they put that part in? Or why did they skip over that? That would have been cool. The game still uses clips from the movies to tell the plot, and loads of the specifics are skipped over, meaning knowledge of the movie is once again required before you jump into this one. Though thanks to more of the playable roster, the game doesn't have to shy away from showing what's happening with the other characters like it did in the last game, so that's a plus. Still, this is, like I said before in the last review too, this is not the optimal way to experience the plot. And that once again has to do with the release date. This one released over a month before the film, and I'm assuming they went vague again to avoid spoiling anyone. Kinda makes me wonder what the plot would have been like had it released alongside the film or a little bit afterwards. I don't like when movie-based games used to do this. I mean, that was kind of the draw to get you to buy them, I think. Like, oh, it came out a month before. Revenge of the Sith did something similar, where it was like out 3 weeks before the film came out. And hell, it even spoiled the final frickin' battle. Gameplay has stayed the same with just different tweaks, making it loads better and way more engaging. You can now play as Sam, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, and Gandalf, granted only in the levels assigned to them. The game is still a beat-em-up, with the goal being to just hack and slash all the enemies and reach the end. Like the last game, it does try to mix it up by making you protect innocents or stop an area from being overrun with enemies. While it's nothing groundbreaking, it does switch up these objectives enough so it never gets too boring. Levels are much more detailed than anything in the last game. Most of them don't follow a straight linear paths, which allows for more control on how you explore them. The basic combat mechanics are also the same in that X is for the quick light combos and triangle is for the heavies, and the square button is still used to parry attacks. You still have to use different combos and certain ones with heavy attacks to break those shields on enemies too. Each character gets a ranged weapon like arrows, knives, or magic, and there's still the combo meter that grades your kills, and successfully hitting and killing enemies in quick succession grants you perfect mode where you can take everything down in one hit. Some new tweaks to the combat is that each character learns different combos and there's different animations for each character, so while playing as Sam and using heavy attacks, it won't look anything how Aragorn moves while performing heavy attacks. You still gain experience based on your performance and you level up to learn new combos or to get access to health upgrades or those stronger projectiles. The newest additions are the special moves, where you hitting the shoulder buttons will perform a character-specific special move, such as having Gandalf use his protective shield, or Sam using his elven cloak to go invisible for a short time. You can also use items in the environment, such as spears and boulders, to take out crowds of enemies. It's satisfying to see something in the environment and then use it to help you get the jump on unsuspecting enemies. It also goes a long way to making the levels feel more interactive than the levels in the last game. The game also has a lot more boss fights than the last. You get to battle Shelob, the King of the Dead, the Witch King, the Mouth of Sauron, and Gollum. These battles can be a real challenge as they all have a set attack pattern you'll have to learn and plan out when to attack. Running in and just button mashing isn't going to work. You'll have to avoid attack patterns, parry when necessary, and take hits when you create that opening. I legit got stuck on a few of these boss fights when I was a kid, but you know, this never felt like it was cheap in design. The game wants you to take advantage of the combo system and use them to your advantage. Standard button mashing shouldn't be the answer to these fights, since then why even have the combo system? The levels are about the same length as the ones from the first game, though thankfully there are more checkpoints in some of the levels. It's definitely less annoying here than it was in the last game. The base difficulty level is pretty decent for a challenge, but once again there is that option to switch to a hard mode should you feel the game is going too easy on you. I think this is one of the more decently challenging movie tie-ins, and these type of games tend to be so easy that anyone can get through them, but I'm glad that there's a legit bit of a challenge here. One of the biggest additions over the last game is that there's a co-op 2-player mode, and this is a ton of fun. And this isn't just some simple mode where you and a second player just stand in one area and beat things up, or it's only like 2 levels are supported. No, it's legit the whole game. There was nothing better back in the day than getting a buddy and hacking your way through tons of enemies. Though the coolest part of the co-op is that back on the PS2 version, it actually supported online play. For a game released in 2003, the idea of playing a game online like that was unheard of, especially considering this was a movie tie-in. Hardly the game genre worth taking the time dedicating such an enhancement. Now, I never got a chance to try the online mode since I never had a PS2 capable of connecting to the internet like that, but I did try out the local co-op a bunch, and that was awesome. Bonus content for beating the game is once again behind the scenes videos, which I still love to say. There's another endurance area in the form of the Palantia for you to take part in. It's a good way to gain extra experience or level up your low-level characters. There's a cheat code list to unlock, and finally 3 secret characters. The bonus characters are Frodo, Merry, Pippin, and Faramir, who are just clones of the main cast, but still welcome additions since it technically makes the whole fellowship playable. I also like how the game taunts you with the 3 of them by hiding them on the character select screen. At least here I knew there were secret characters, unlike in the last game where I had literally no idea until I looked it up. The presentation is once again top notch. The graphics are stronger than what was in the last game, textures are more cleaner and faces are sharper with a little bit of detail, levels are way more detailed and a lot less gray and dark than in the last game. Once again, the game uses clips pulled straight from the film that merge directly into the game engine, which still looks pretty cool. The camera can be a bit of a problem at certain points thanks in part to the bigger levels now. The game uses a fixed camera with preset angles, but when you move to certain spots, the camera changes fast and you can get a little disoriented. It happens pretty infrequently though, so it's not game breaking in the slightest. The soundtrack is also on point yet again thanks in part to Howard Shore's music being used. Seriously, music goes a long way in providing that authenticity to the product. Voiceovers are also great since once again they got the whole cast returning to provide their lines. And I can't stress again how the combination of the music and the voiceovers goes a long way into making you feel like you're right in the movie. Other movie-based games have original soundtracks and replacement voiceovers, and for me, sometimes I can't help but be distracted by that slightly similar music trying to replicate the film's soundtrack and the wrong voices coming out of characters' mouths. At best, you'll get the Harry Potter games, and at worst, well, there's way too many to list, but trust me, there are loads. So I do love that both the Lord of the Rings tie-in games used as much as they could from the films. Overall, Return of the King is awesome in every sense of the word. It manages to improve on all the shortcomings found in the prior game. More playable characters, bigger levels, new combos and animations, 2-player support, an online mode, in addition to the spot-on replication of the style of the film, makes Return of the King an amazing Lord of the Rings game and one of the best movie tie-ins you'll find. If more movie tie-in games gave this level of effort and detail, then maybe the genre wouldn't have gone extinct. While I gave The Two Towers a glowing review, and don't get me wrong, it's a great game in its own right, Return of the King is the better game, and I've definitely played this one loads more than Two Towers, and that's saying something, because I definitely played the hell out of Two Towers as well. What could have been such a lazy copy and paste job turns out to be a substantial upgrade. There's effort here, which you tend not to see in these types of games, especially when we look at EA's track record. I know loads of Lord of the Rings fans would to this day swear that these 2 games are some of the best in the whole series. So definitely hunt them down and give them a shot for a really fun time. Especially if you've never experienced them before, you owe it to yourself. So that's the end of the Lord of the Rings review series. Oh, wait a minute, that's right, it's not! Thanks in part to some complicated decisions from behind the scenes, the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy did not mean the end of Lord of the Rings games. Nope! Join us next time when the review series continues as we get to look at what exactly happened after Return of the King released, what EA and Vivendi ended up doing to continue the Lord of the Rings franchise now that Jackson's trilogy had finished releasing. Thanks for watching.